This week, we will continue our review of rescues for suspected head, neck, and spinal injuries. We will practice rescuing submerged spinal victims, as well as the spinal backboarding procedure in deep water. Remember, there are two main objectives for any spinal rescue. 1. Support the head, neck, and spine throughout the rescue. And 2. Always ensure the victim is breathing. Now let's watch Jack rescue a submerged spinal victim. Jack activates the EAP, calls for the backboard, and slides into the water. He uses a breaststroke approach and then performs a feet-first surface dive to submerge directly behind the victim. Note that Jack completely removed his rescue tube before submerging. Before moving the victim, Jack secures head splint. He then brings the victim forward toward the surface at an angle. Just as you would walk forward with the face-down spinal victim on the surface to raise their hips, so too should you swim forward with the submerged spinal victim in order to keep their body and spine level before rolling them face up. You should never roll a victim face up while underwater. Doing so will flood their lungs. Watch how Jack rolls his victim face up just as he breaks the surface. Once on the surface, you must kick hard and support your victim from underneath to keep their face out of the water. Remember to assess breathing if the victim is unresponsive. You should always move to the shallow end before attempting the spinal backboarding procedure. However, if you are unable to reach the shallow end, you will need to perform the procedure in deep water. While you support the victim in deep water, ask an assisting guard to place a rescue tube under your arms for support. The assisting guard should approach you from behind and wrap the tube around your chest. Do not allow the tube to touch the victim's head, neck, or spine. Once you have control of the tube, you may switch to the overarm head splint. Then, bring the victim back to the nearest wall for backboarding. The spinal backboarding procedure in deep water is no different than the technique used in shallow water. However, the assisting guard will use the rescue tube for support throughout the rescue. Both rescuers should communicate with each other, and the victim, if they are responsive, to ensure a smooth rescue. Remember, one of your main objectives is to always ensure the victim is breathing. If at any point the victim stops breathing, immediately extricate them from the water and perform a primary assessment. Now let's watch Cole and Bobby perform the spinal backboarding procedure in deep water.